All right, take a look at these faces. Now, these are all images, heavyweights in the Republican Party of the United States. I mean, we've even got Mitt Romney here, we've got John McCain, and these are all people who will not be at the Republican National Convention when it begins next week. They will be noticeably absent. Perhaps most telling, the entire Bush clan, the Bush dynasty, George Sr. and George W., will not attend. The reason? Donald Trump. Now, the billionaire tycoon has rubbed many GOP heavyweights the wrong way with policy, with style, with his personality. The no-shows, they can't make Trump disappear. But the Republican Convention's Rules Committee, they can. They're meeting today, and they could stage a rebellion against a candidate that many do not see as a true Republican. Our Washington correspondent, Richard Walker, explains what could happen with a little help from a familiar fake face.
Donald Trump is getting ready for the Republican convention, where he's due to be officially voted the party's nominee for president.
They love Trump. They love me.
But many Republicans don't love Trump at all, and this could be their last chance to stop him. Here's how things stand. Trump stormed his way through the primaries, winning a clear majority of the states. That translates into delegates who are committed to vote for him at the convention, whether they like it or not. You could think of them as mini Trumps, and he's got far more of them than anyone else. Over 1,500 all in all. Trump's main rivals, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio and John Kasich, trail far behind. That all looks very good for Trump.
Trump will get it done.
But one thing could still stand in his way, and that's the Rules Committee. It's perhaps the most powerful group in the Republican Party right now, a committee of 112 people who set the rules for the convention. If enough turned against Trump, the race would be blown wide open. Trump delegates would be free to rebel from their commitments and switch their support to another candidate, like Cruz or Rubio or Kasich, or even potentially someone else altogether. For Trump himself, that would be a nightmare.
Huge disaster. Huge disaster.
But for now, most observers say the chance of that happening is small, and it's more likely that the convention will be Trump's moment of glory.
We will make America truly great again. Thank you.
Then Trump would have just one opponent left to deal with, but that's a battle that's only just getting started.
All right, I'm joined by Boris Vorman. He is a political scientist at the JFK Institute here in Berlin at the Free University. Boris, it's good to have you on the day. So, obviously, the news of Trump saying that he has a vice presidential running mate now, Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Is that going to influence the Rules Committee's decision?
Well, he hasn't quite said so yet. I mean, he's been signaling it. We think that he's going to be the vice president, but he's still waiting for it tomorrow. So I think he's also trying to tickle and stimulate the media, which he's very good at. The Rules Committee could have done two things, basically, tomorrow, or on the next couple of days. One of them would have been to unpledge the pledged delegates, right, and to free them up again. I don't think that's going to happen. That's too much of a revolution, and there would be a legitimacy crisis that would ensue that would probably split the Republican Party apart.
Well, do we know, even if they were to free the delegates, do we know that the delegates would then shift their support? Is there a guarantee that they would change their mind?
Well, we don't, especially because there is this problem of legitimacy that's existing. So I think many of the delegates would also think, well, do we really want it to bring it to this point? But what we do know, of course, is that some have had problems with their conscience. There has been the conscience clause. Some have been invoking that and have said, well, maybe this is not what I can do when I think of my political principles.
And obviously, you know, we were talking about the big heavyweights of the GOP party who will not be there. That sends a very loud signal. That has to speak to someone's conscience, right?
It certainly does. But if you think of Mike Pence and his background a little more, he's certainly not towards the GOP establishment. And Paul Ryan has been congratulating Donald Trump already, so has Mitch McConnell. Yes, he's catering to the conservative, social conservative wing of the Republican Party, to the evangelicals and to the conservative religious fragments of the party. So there is some kind of a conciliatory approach.
Yeah, you're sounding very positive about how things are going to go positive for Donald Trump. I mean, are we not going to have any type of rebellion at the convention next week?
I'm not sure we will. This is something that we will have to wait for. But the GOP establishment has been trying to stage a couple of rebellions already. It's been trying to unify the party behind Cruz and behind Rubio first, and it's all not worked. Kasich dropped out when he really had the first chance to enter the race, and all these attempts have failed. So I think this is a point where it's actually too late.
And can the Republican Party survive this? Can it survive having Trump as the candidate, as the nominee in November, and let's say in 4 years coming back with someone who is considered a traditional conservative, a traditional Republican? Can the party withstand basically having as one commentator put it, a faux Republican for 4 years?
Well, yeah, if he becomes a president, this will have a tremendous impact on politics in the U.S. It already does. Already the primaries do. There's been a large shift in the political debate, which was already broken, one must say also. It was very polarized before. Hard to tell if the GOP will survive. I wouldn't think that we can hear the death knell already. The GOP is an old party, and it has a long tradition. I don't think it's going to fall apart so easily.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what Abraham Lincoln would be saying if he were around today. All right, Boris Foreman with the JFK Institute at the Free University. Thanks. We'll see if you were right next week this time.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Boris.